Okay, so people, last night I went to go see Captain America Brave New World. Now, I personally felt like it was a good movie. I liked the movie. I don't care how great a movie is. You can always piggyback and say, well, they should have done this, or I would have done this or that, which is really something that's overblown because people do this all of the time. They just have to find something to nitpick. It can't be all pros, it has to be cons as well. That's the mentality of people. Complain, 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 even when something is good. Okay. What's good and what's bad is obviously subjective with different people. Now, for me, I'm not going to break the whole movie down. I mean, it was a lot to break down. I didn't see anything that I felt like, oh, I hate this part, I hate that part, or whatever. Um, when you hear this from people, people complain about everything. There's nothing that people can watch and just like. The only time you may hear someone, in all honesty, say something good, like example, like people that love DC always feel the need to talk about Marvel. So they'll always try to find something to pick apart. But any DC movie that they make, they'll sit there and if somehow this is just the perfect movie. All right, whatever. I'm not even going in that direction. Okay, so Brave New World, I like the movie, and I don't look at videos for someone to make my mind up for me. But I do watch a lot of content and I'll see certain things being said. And I'm like, just listening to the things that people say, I had a feeling, you know what? I think this movie is going to set up a direction for a new Marvel Avengers movie and so forth and so on. Like, this is not just a movie they put out there and then, okay, when this movie's over, that's it. Then the next movie, like, no, it's going to tie into something else. That's how the entire Marvel MCU work played out anyway. So, and it turns out I was right. So, one of the complaints I heard was, don't tell us about the Avengers. Put the Avengers in the movie. That's a different movie. That will be the next phase. Other complaint I heard was, oh, why does um General Ross, why does the president have to tell Captain America to assemble the Avengers? So what? Like, in other words, the only reason that it's happening is because of the request of the president. So what? Like, I mean, these are just this is just like this just nitpicking for things. Okay, first off, even when the Avengers were assembled, look at the entire history of them. They bickered and fought and argued. I mean, Captain America and Iron Man, they're all on the same team, right? But they just couldn't get along. The Hulk and Thor, same team, but they kept beefing back and forth. All this, so big deal, man. And in terms of the bigger picture, yeah, they were even going at it when, um, they got Thanos, they got all these different situations, Ultron, like they have these different villains that they need to stand together to defeat, and they still couldn't get this shit together. I mean, if they ultimately did at some point, but it's like, man, they just find things to complain about. What was one of the other complaints? Oh, they didn't put the Red Hulk in the movie enough. Like, guys, listen. Once again, we can piggyback off of anything. They would have did this. They should have did that. They should have did this. Okay. What I find really weird is this. There were a lot of fight scenes in the movie, but the majority of the fight scenes, of course, was Captain America against, like, these agents or whatever. Not so much any super soldiers and things like that or whatever. And so yeah, I mean, I guess people just thought this movie was supposed to be stacked with a bunch of villains, and Captain America was supposed to just fight and defeat them all. Like, I don't know, man. I'm listening to these complaints. The complaints were really, really a bunch of basic kid logic type complaints. Okay, now the one thing that I thought when he was saying that he should have took the serum, and then the question was asked of why. Okay, he responded in a way where what I'm thinking, like, why not take the serum? This version of Captain America, like, he can do more with the wings and, them being made of vibranium or whatever and all. And if he had the serum, that would make him far more complete, where he can compete with bigger, stronger foes. Um, why not? Why would you not take the serum? That was my question. But it's not a game changer, man. It's not like something I'm sitting here taking points down. Oh, this movie sucked because he didn't take the serum. Like, whatever, man. Okay, but I feel like he should have took the serum. But this is not complaints. This is just things that thoughts I had based on certain things that was said and done. That's a long movie, man. So I'm not here to break down the entire movie. Okay, but I thought it was a good movie. I liked it. I'm one of the people that liked the movie. It's the number one movie in the country for several weeks now. So, I mean, but people will always find something to just complain about. Like, as I said, um, the Red Hulk situation. Captain America says in the movie, we all know you could take me out with one punch, I'm so glad that they said that though, because this is the one thing about the prior movies that my thing is they never let the Hulk actually Hulk out. And we know that I can't say it's all Disney, okay, but we know that it's majority Disney, if not, because I don't see how the hell you can be um, a part of Marvel and not think that it's important to let the Hulk do his Hulk shit, For example, way back in the day, they had a crossover between the Hulk and Batman, right? And in this comic, Batman, he has this bullshit. Let's just say it like it is. I've always liked Batman. He's one of the few people I like in DC. But Batman, I always felt like they put so much bullshit into his character. Like, example, he's always lucky enough to just make it back to the Batcave and do his homework on you, study you, and then, okay, now I'm going to figure out what I need to do to beat this guy. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to, say, like Iron Man, who he stepped his game up to where he can formulate his suit, like he has it on him. It just formulates from that thing in his chest, I guess, or whatever, however. And just like that, boom, his suit covers his body. Now, it's not the strongest version of his suit, but bottom line, it can get him out of tough situations, and it's not like it's some pushover, okay? But let's take the scene, for example. Remember when Loki came to the Avengers Tower and Iron Man was in there? Now, Loki realized he was stalling because without his suit, without his armor, anything, he has no chance of beating Loki. So when he was able to, the suit, he called for the suit, and the suit came down to him and covered him up. It's cool that he can do that, because I always said he should have something, man, at least his blasters or, and his the shoes where he can fly and, in case something happened. But yeah, they did one better with the whole suit covering his body. So Batman is in a situation. How is he on the same screen as Doomsday and he lives? How is he, in scenarios with like superhumans? He's a regular man. He's has no superpowers or nothing, but they always put him in situations where it's like somehow he survives these situations that these are super villains. So I always felt like, okay, whatever, man. It's just the movies, not real life. So it is what it is. But what I'm saying is they try to humanize someone like the Hulk. Take his powers. Don't let him fully Hulk out, but they take a regular man like Batman and somehow he's alive, and yet he has Doomsday on his ass or whatever. Just say, But what I was getting to with that, initially with that comparison, was Batman goes and he gave the Hulk. Something happened. He injected something in the Hulk some kind of way, and then he hits Hulk in the stomach, and Hulk is throwing up. Now, I'm looking at this comic as a freaking kid going, I remember me and my cousin, like a group of us, we were all kids, were sitting there. We were like, this comic is stupid. How is the Hulk, he can't beat Batman? Like, and I'm saying, why did Marvel even agree to this shit? Like, it was just one of those things. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, they take really powerful characters and try to humanize them as much as they can. And they take characters that's just normal people and somehow they're surviving fights or situations with these superhumans. I mean, remember when Captain America was about to jump off the plane on one of the Avengers movies and they said, Cap, like, what are you doing? Like, these are gods, and he jumps down there. He didn't go down there to fight them. He went down there to get them on the same page. But this is why I said I'm so glad that Sam Wilson's character at least said, everybody know one punch, you can kill me or whatever, right? This is what I'm talking about. Um, his conversation with like for people, I don't know, and I feel like people were lost because the conversations the videos I saw with people making on this movie, they were saying things and they were like all over the place, and I said, okay, they just had a list of rants. But when I watched the movie, like example, go back to the Hulk that I'm watching right now, the second one. Okay, the guy that played Ross, he was the president. He's the Red Hulk. It's Harrison Ford. I forget the other guy's name, but it was a different character, a different guy playing the same character. In the end, when he's in that prison and you see his daughter, where Sam Wilson brings his daughter to see him, this is the same daughter that played Betty. It's the same person. So it's quite obvious you think that they're going to bring the next movie where you'll see all of them would more than likely be an Avengers movie. And you would hope that the Hulk would be in it. I mean, I don't see because this could be more of a daughter-father relationship where I don't like to assume things just because I see something and then act as if this is going to happen because I think it. I can say what I would like to see happen or the possibility of what may happen. That would be more appropriate than saying this is what they're going to do because I don't know what they're going to do. But the problem right now with Marvel and the Hulk making a Hulk movie is they need pretty much Disney. They have a partnership. If Disney doesn't want to comply, then they have nothing. And I don't like the way they've been watering the Hulk down and making him so mediocre. And this, I mean, the movies were good, and you can say, his character was funny as Professor Hulk, but that's the point. I don't care about funny. I want to see the Hulk. Like they gave him the World Breaker Hulk look, but they didn't give him the World Breaker Hulk powers. It was just so many things I heard people saying, and I'm like, man, these complaints to me just sound like it just sounds like a classroom full of little kids complaining about what they got for Christmas and what they actually wanted for Christmas. That's what it sounds like to me. Okay, if you look at the Red Hulk, for example, why was he able to talk to the Hulk? Why was he able to calm him down? Well, it's quite obvious the difference between Bruce Banner as Hulk and Ross as Hulk is, first off, it's quite obvious. Ross is the same person. Him and Red Hulk are the same. It's just this is what he grows into once he gets angry enough. He snapped it, but he's still in control. Whereas Banner and the Hulk are two separate mindsets, two separate entities in one. You understand what I mean? So, like, for him to refer to him as Ross and be able to talk to him and calm him down, it's obvious. So when people go, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because you're looking at the fact that this is Red Hulk. Okay, you see the name Hulk. You're making like him. You're making Ross being Red Hulk is the exact same as Green Hulk, other than two different colors or whatever, and two different people inside. But no, it's obvious Red Hulk is he's controlled by Ross. Is Ross is angry, he's coming to fight, but he was able to be reasoned with because he's in control. He's not fighting with himself. It's not like him and Red Hulk have two separate mindsets. And it's obvious that Bruce and Green Hulk, okay, they are two separate entities. They don't like each other. And Bruce cannot control the Hulk unless Hulk decides he doesn't want to do something. Like when Bruce was trying to turn into him and he was yelling, no, and he refused to come out because he felt like he was being used. Now let's go back to World Breaker Hulk. Remember when and this is in the comics, when he basically returned from the planet that they sent him to, they tricked him and sent him there because Hulk was basically too destructive. Now, when he comes back, he's mad at everybody because he felt betrayed. He pretty much destroyed like the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, everybody. Almost destroyed the planet. Now, remember, when they had Doctor Strange come in, Doctor Strange was trying to calm him down. And remember, I think he did something. He did shot him with some type of blast, one of his magic powers or whatever. And then Hulk tricked him. And he turned to Banner and caught him off guard and instantly turned right back to Hulk and then took out Doctor Strange. So, you understand what I'm saying? His rage is unmatched. They won't let Hulk out. And I remember a long time ago, people from Marvel said, look, it's as simple as this. If Hulk really hulks out, he could beat anyone. There's no one, hero or villain, that could beat him if he actually hulks out. So then you got people trying to curve it. If he hulks out enough, his body will explode. All these different stupid things that people will come up with just to try to justify him not actually hulking out. But they, plain and simply, that's the thing. They never let him completely hulk out. That's why I said I don't know if it's solely on Disney in terms of that, but in terms of giving him the World Breaker Hulk look, why you think so many people were so psyched up for that? Because we know what the World Breaker Hulk is capable of. And in the comics and in the animation, the Hulk kicks Thor's ass every time they fight. But you know what I'm saying, man. People, different writers, different people have different visions for what they want to do with a character. I don't have a problem with the Red Hulk. Like they should have put him more. Okay, whatever. I wouldn't have been mad if they did. But my point is, like, you're trying to rewrite a whole script. It's like they tried to rewrite the movie. Everybody has all these different things of what they would have did and what they should have done. And all right, whatever, man. That's too deep. That's too deep. So when you look at who the Avengers are, we know that now. Are they going to do one of those blips, they call it, whatever, and go back in time? And I don't see a reason for them to bring Captain America back, the original Captain America back. Could they? Yeah. I feel like, right now this is Sam Wilson's time. In the comics, the same thing happened, where Sam Wilson became the new Captain America. So this is just the comics coming to life. But who will they bring back? Do I want to see that? Look, the Hulk. I love the Marvel characters, Hulk and Spider-Man. Blue Marvel, like Sentry. What's the other guy? He has these superpowers too. Where's red and yellow? I forget his goddamn name. Hyperion. Like, these are people I want to see Marvel bring to life, man. There's several people, but who are they going to assemble as the Avengers? Now, one thing that people can do to set themselves up for failure is if you imagine the exact same Avengers from the previous MCU, because we know Iron Man won't be there. We know Captain America won't be there. We know it will be Sam Wilson. We know that they're supposed to be making a Thor versus Hercules movie, and I haven't heard anything about that. I haven't seen any trailers, anything, so I don't know what's going on with that. They have several movies coming out. As I was leaving the theater last night, I know they got the Fantastic Four, and it's another movie. I forgot, it's a group, the Thunderbolts. So I don't know what they're going to do. Just like how they had the Guardians of the Galaxy, and how it came together towards the end in the very last Marvel movie, incorporating Ant-Man into it, Captain Marvel. So there's different ways they can go with this. But if you're going to look at the old, and this is one of the things that we do wrong as human beings, we always want to compare something. We look at something and it's a certain standard, then it's like we sit there angry if it's not the same exact thing, like a duplicate of. You can't redo what was done already. You can just try to make it better. Let me see what we did here. Let's go this direction. Let's not lose the essence, though. Let's not lose what made these movies special. But at the same time, we don't know who's going to be the new Avengers. Will Thor be there? I would think so. Will Black Widow be there? I would think so. I don't know. Will they bring Spider-Man back in? And here's the beauty of it too with Spider-Man, because he's no longer a kid. He's a grown man now. So I would be interested to see how, what they would do. And will they have the last kid that played? Was it Tom Holland? Was his name? The last kid that they had played is Spider-Man. Will it be him? I don't know. And that's another thing that people seem to be unrealistic with, is that with actors have contracts, man. And sometimes they have to change who's who. Like people that was talking about, oh, why does the thing look like that? Well, if you've been watching the Fantastic Four, you can see clearly that this version of the thing is the way he looked in the more recent comics now. And has the suit on and everything. But I mean, people are always, like I said, they just always have to find something to complain about. I thought the movie was good. It was interesting, and I feel like people, they overthink fantasy too much. These are not real. It's movies. It's not real life. Okay, to sit here and say they should have made it more realistic with what? Well, I mean, like for example, the president. It's like, imagine the president, the most powerful person in the world. I'm like, okay, so it's less realistic because the president is the most powerful person in the world in your mind, and you're saying that the president. The complaint was that um, he's the one wanting to assemble the Avengers, but at the same time, he ends up being the Red Hulk, and I'm like, that makes no sense to me. I don't see your complaint, but you're talking about realism. We're talking about a movie with a red giant. We're talking about a movie with a man flying around with wings and shooting superpowers. So that's all realistic, though. It's like people, like I said, they overthink everything. They always want to try to make something that's fantasy real when it's not. Okay, but yeah, I felt like, in terms of them referencing the Hulk, and for people, see, this is what I mean about these people who love to complain. When you say things like, why do they keep referencing the Hulk? It's like it was a Hulk movie. Okay, let me explain something to you. There's people that was sitting there, people that's been a part of the MCU from its inception. They've been watching all the movies. They understood, but there's a lot of people that didn't. Example, remember when, I forget the guy's name. I'm sitting here looking at the Hulk now, the second one. The guy that became the super soldier, that came Abomination. Remember when he came into that doctor's office, the guy that was speaking to the Hulk in code, and the Hulk was trying to have his powers taken away. Now remember, they had the Hulk's blood and all that, or whatever, the gamma or whatever it was they had. And remember when the guy came in and he's like, I want more of this. He became Abomination within that doctor's office. And he knocked my man down. Remember, that stuff dripped on him and his head started bubbling. So that guy was the same guy that basically was in the movie. And people didn't remember who the hell he was. Or you had people that maybe didn't see it, because you always got to remember, this is what people fail to realize. These movies come years apart. So now you have to give a backstory for the next generation of people that didn't grow up seeing this stuff, that's going to go, oh, now I see. Like, you have kids right now that they may have watched the last Shang Tzu movie, or the last Black Widow movie, or something to that effect, or maybe they might have just seen Wolverine and Deadpool, but they don't know the backstory on it. Okay, it's like when you watch the Fast and Furious, and the first two movies were what they were. The third one was like, people, huh? The third one was to get a younger generation to be a part of what already started. Like I said, these movies are years apart. So you got to remember, if you're like 10 years old, you didn't see the first two Fast and Furious movies. Now you're like 15. So the first Fast and Furious movie you see are you and your friends at the movie, and it's the third one. Now you've been watching the third one. You might go back and watch the first two, and you're going to watch and continue on. And that's all this is. That this movie was done in a way where, hey man, there's going to be new people who never saw any of these old movies, but they're going to want a backstory. And the Hulk was a vital part of the MCU as well. The difference, why people don't understand that, is because the first two movies were played by two different actors. The Hulk looked completely different in the second one than he did the first one. Then the MCU version, he looks completely different from the first two. And they have a different actor in Mark Ruffalo. So it's not like the next Hulk movie. Now, who's to say if something, let's just say, I don't know, if Mark Ruffalo's contract, something happened and he was no longer doing the Hulk movies, then they probably would bring back one of the originals. I don't know that. I'm just saying, if they have to do something. They're not going to say, well, we can't make the movie because of him. No, it's not because of Mark Ruffalo or any of those guys, because the majority of what you're going to see with Hulk that people care about is when he turns to the Hulk. In terms of storyline and things like that, with Bruce and whatever they're going through and doing, okay, that's all well, but we want to see the big green giant. So, um, the things that people were complaining about was just like, and the funny thing is when people like the one lady, she said something. It made me laugh when she said it because she talked about how you going to have a Captain America movie without Captain America. They got to stick to the script, and I said it's obvious you don't read the comics and you don't know. People don't understand all of these things that you see happened in the comics already. Now they may alter certain things to give it a better effect because you got to understand. Um, these characters have been around for a long time. There's been changes. I mean, hell, if you grew up looking at DC, there was a time where Superman had a Hercules look, had a thick beard, and had the cape wrapped around his body and all of that, like a strap. And I mean, they've done different things. The Incredible Hulk at one point had a black T-shirt on and a damn sharp haircut with a fade. And I'm like, what? They do so many changes. Spider-Man had a bionic arm. He was teaming up with a character named Deathlock. I mean, there's so many, which is another one of my favorite characters by Marvel. But I mean, there's just so many things that they've done throughout the years, and this is my point. Comics aren't what they used to be. They don't have the same impact. When we were kids, that was our thing. Wrestling magazines, comic books, cartoons, and wrestling. And I always was a boxing guy, and stuff like that. But bottom line, in martial arts and stuff. But bottom line is like you grew up watching certain things, and when you see changes, what happens with a lot of people? They don't like change, and then a lot of people don't understand diversity. They have like this one track mind. They see something a certain way it's not supposed to change. If you look at which Spider-Man movie it was where he fought the Rhino. Now in the comics, the Rhino was this big guy, and he had this suit on with the big rhino horn on his head. He was a big dude, like the Hulk size. Okay, all right. What was he in the movie? He was a man riding and operating a mechanical rhino. So, yeah, changes happen. Either you like the change or you don't. But in terms of the stories, these stories are all coming from the comics. Um, I thought the movie was good overall. I liked it. It's obvious they're setting up for another Avengers movie. And you hear Captain America, Sam Wilson, and stop with the bullshit. How you going to have a Captain America without Captain America? He was Captain America. Okay? Simple. Um, but bottom line is, even at the end, he's saying they're right. The Avengers do need to be reassembled, and so it's obvious they have another. We already know that they plan on making another Avengers movie, but I don't know what characters are going to be there. I haven't seen any trailers, so I can't sit here and assume. So we don't know who's going to be in it. In terms of who is still in the MCU contractually and character wise, because like I said, a character can be replaced, and then that's just what it is. Does anybody give a shit that Harrison Ford replaced the guy that initially was playing Ross? Does anybody really care about that? I mean, this is all just little nitpicking type things. For example, the guy that played Abomination. Now, what people also seem to forget is like the Winter Soldier. Yeah, he made a brief appearance and all that. The cameos are not something new. These things have happened throughout the MCU. Um, Even if it's at the end of a movie, like before the first Avengers movie, after this very Hulk movie I'm watching, where Ross is going to be sitting there at some bar, and then Starks comes in and they start to talk, and then we know, okay, the next movie is going to be the Avengers. Okay, doesn't matter, man. These things that people are nitpicking with doesn't change the fact it's the number one movie in the country. It's a good movie, whether hey, people like it, people don't like it. I'm not here to debate that. Whatever people like, they like. What they don't like, they don't like. But the movie itself, I felt was solid, and there is comics where Betty and her dad had to bond because they were separated, they weren't getting along, and to me, the irony of it with him is like he's chasing the Hulk all over the place. Hulk just want to be left alone, right? He's claiming the Hulk is military property, and also a criminal, right? And then out of everybody, he the one that ends up Hulk turned into a Hulk and end up in prison. He turned himself in because he knew, what he had done and what he possibly could do as a Hulk. So now, what he was trying to save his daughter from in his mind, he's the one behind bars that she's coming to visit. So will he? Will the Red Hulk return in the next Avengers movie? I don't know. I mean, we all want to see Mark Ruffalo. Hell yeah, we definitely. It's not like there's not room for two of them, but how it plays out, we don't know. Will they wind up teaming up for some to fight some boss? Hell, for that matter, y'all, Hulk fans still want to see the Hulk get his fucking payback against Thanos, right? So yeah, just saying, man. I don't care if it's video games, if it's movies, whatever it may be. I don't see things and then tell myself, oh, I know how this is going to end, and then want to guarantee it, and then get angry when it doesn't happen and say that the movie sucked or the segment sucked or whatever it may have been, the game sucked. Like, that's childish. I don't know who's going to be, but you got to look at, like, for me, I'm looking at who was there. Like I said, we know unless they're going to go back in time, like do that blip thing and okay, we're going to save Iron Man before he got killed. We're going to intervene or, you know, do something to go back to reverse what happened. The same thing with Captain America. Now, it would probably look weird to have Sam Wilson have both Captain America's back and then have Red Hulk and Green Hulk all in the same movie. It's not, I mean, can it be pulled off? Yeah. I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm not suggesting that that's going to happen, but I'm saying to have the original Avengers back, great. I would be for that. And they have a way to do it. They can get it done. Yes, but I don't know that that's going to happen, and I don't feel like that's the only way an Avengers movie can be really great is if those same exact people are back. Now, I will say to have Thor, to have Hulk, yeah, you definitely want to have them. Black Widow, um, and they were always at the end of an Avengers show. See, in the cartoons, they all live at the Avengers Tower type of thing. You understand what I mean? For the most part, they're always there. It's like the X-Men. They all live in the same facility type thing. Things change, man. It's like people in their mind, everything has to be the same all the time. If you grew up watching the Super Friends, they all lived in that the Super Friends tower or whatever, the cave or whatever the hell they were. Come on, man. Like, that's just not the way things don't stay that way. I mean, hell, Hugh Jackman is not going to play Wolverine forever. At some point, he'll be too old. They're going to need a new Professor X at some point. Like, they're all going to change. A new Magneto. That's just life, man. So I'm not stuck in any bubble of it has to be this person or it has to be this way, that way. We'll have a new Black Widow at some point, man, of course. But going forward, um, who they're going to have as the Avengers, I don't know. But we know contractually that um Downey's contract was up, and the same with Captain America. So these guys that died in the movie, Captain wanted his old love back, and his scene ended with the two of them dancing. That was more important to him than becoming, staying an Avenger and defending the world and all and whatever. I guess he felt like they'd done what they had to. So at that point, as a superhero, it's like you always have a villain to take down, to protect the world from type of thing. But they finally got rid of Thanos, and there's always something happens, So there's always going to be different variations in terms from the movies to the comics to the animated series and stuff like that. So let's just take, we have Sam Rogers, so he's in for sure, and I want to see his character, flourish the same way the original Captain America did. They did nothing but pay homage to his old character and what type of leader he was and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And so Sam, his character is understanding that and developing into that and realizing he's already a badass, but now understanding that, hey, this is what the original Cap would have did, and this is what I'm going to do. And you know what? I have to want these challenges. And it was the storyline was I like what they were talking about and how the kid that was in the hospital bed in the end when they were talking, he was telling them like, man, I want the responsibility, I want that pressure, I want all of it, man. Like, and so yeah, Sam's understanding this now. You know what? That responsibility, it doesn't come easy, man. There's a lot of sacrifice, and so maybe he'll take the serum because there's certain foes. If you think about, whether it's Galactus, like all these different foes that he would need that serum to make it. And this is what I'm saying. Why not? Because for him to fight against a super villain, this is what I'm saying. It's like, come on, man. That's what I always didn't. That's what I didn't like about the Batman characters. That they always, you know, like he'll be in a position where someone has him by the collar, and he's just sitting there smiling, staring as if like, you know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. Or somehow he's always able to make it back to the Batcave and do his research on you, and then find a perfect game plan on how to beat you. Like, all right, whatever. Remember the one movie where Bane had him, and Bane could have killed him, but Bane held on to him. Now it's a Batman movie. You want to see Batman win, and eventually he's going to escape some kind of way. You just don't know how at the time. He has him, but he spares him. And at that point, Batman comes back. He fights even harder, and he defeats Bane. Okay, and DC watered Bane's character down, but if you know, you know. But I'm expecting to see Thor back. I'm expecting to see Captain Marvel. I don't know about any of the Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe, maybe not. But definitely expect to see them back. I wish they would have. I would like to have seen Quicksilver, but we know that he got killed. You know, he's one that I would like to see. But hey, like I said, man, I would like to see Hyperion and Sentry and like Blue Marvel in these movies, man, because like these are some of the you know and you don't know what type of things they're gonna have them doing, but these are characters that I always loved. So yeah, but I don't know if you'll see any of those new people I said, but as far as who they're gonna bring back, yeah, you got to look if they're gonna go all the way back to bring Betty back, so she have a role. We don't know what type of role it's going to be, and these Marvel movies have seen to come in fours, and not well, like how many Iron Mans did they make? How many Captain Americas did they make? Right. So for every Marvel movie, what the formula was, we'll have a movie like a Captain America movie, then the next movie will be a Thor movie, then a Marvel Avengers movie. So they'll probably use that type of formula still, which makes sense because you can always tell stories within a story to lead to like the Avengers movies are like the Super Bowl. All the other movies is the season games to get to the playoffs, right? And then the grand finale, bam, Marvel Avengers movie, and they cap that year off with that. Then the phase continues, and then he will introduce new characters, and so they'll probably continue to do that. There's no need to change that, but it's just a matter of who. And this is why I'm saying it's like if they start to bring these more powerful characters in, for sure, man. Um, yeah, Captain America would definitely need Sam would definitely need to take that serum. And let's be real, man. Who the fuck doesn't want to see Hyperion and Sentry, man? Who doesn't want to see Blue Marvel? Like, and fuck you if you don't. But yeah, come on, man. Like they have so many people, and I'm just like, man, the possibilities of who they could bring in to the movies, and make some more big blockbuster movies with these Avengers, man. This would be a great thing. But yeah, female characters. And wait, let me say this: the She-Hulk series, the Winter Soldier and Captain America series. They've incorporated. This is what I'm saying. So things that happen on those shows, you see what I mean. So they bring them into the MCU. She-Hulk is another one I expect to see in the MCU. Now, why bring She-Hulk in? Why bring Betty back? Bring her. Why do all that and not bring the actual Hulk back? But I want to see Hulk. I don't want to see Professor Hulk, man. We've already had enough of that shit, man. I want to see Hulk the fuck out, and do what the fucking Hulk's supposed to do, man. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, Yeah, I mean, it's just so many different people. I mean, will they incorporate the Fantastic Four into a Marvel Avengers movie? Hopefully. Will they start with it? Will they recreate another X-Men movie? Hopefully, and incorporate them into it, because even like, for example, Deadpool, Wolverine having their movie. Now, just think about it this way, right? The majority, like the last couple of X-Men movies, was like, remember they had the where they like went back in time, and it was like supposed to be before the more current movie type of thing, or the last one that they had before that type of thing. So I don't know what they're gonna do, but just imagine if they did have an Avengers movie and they incorporate the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. Man, that would be, that would be great. But we'll have to see what happens, what direction they go into. But personally, I thought it was a good movie. I don't listen to people with their ranting and all that nonsense. They just, some people, they just can't be happy with anything. And not to be funny, but if you're a fucking DC fan, shut the fuck up, because all you DC fans do is you're DC fans, but you do nothing but talk about Marvel shit. You don't even talk about DC. When you do talk about DC, what pisses y'all off really is because Batman is the best thing y'all got going. And I like the Wonder Woman movies. The Aquaman stuff was like, okay, Marvel, or the Justice League stuff. The Batman versus Superman. We already know the only way that they can beat Batman has a chance to beating Superman. We already know the only way he can do that. He's a good guy. So is he gonna kill Superman? No. We already know all of these things, and their movies are very typical. Now the thing is, what I like, Gal Gadot is a great actress. She played a good role, but she just doesn't embody Wonder Woman. She doesn't look like Wonder Woman. She's very thin, very skinny. Wonder Woman is muscular, man. Um, you know, the woman that's playing She Hulk. She Hulk is a muscular character. This woman isn't muscular, but by far, man, she looks more of the part of a She Hulk than what Gal Gadot does as Wonder Woman. But this is the problem with acting, with actors and actresses. Sometimes a person may look the part but can't act, or the person can act but don't look the part. But things like that these DC fans be, oh man, but Marvel, like, why are you guys so concerned about Marvel? You don't like Marvel. Marvel sucks. Marvel is just stupid. DC to me is just big. Look, first off, you know what DC stands for? Detective Comics. Their comics initially wasn't headed towards superheroes and superhumans. This is why when they did Superman, they changed it. If you remember, Superman wasn't no kick ass. Superman was saving cats from trees, keeping trains from falling off the track, saving helicopters that falling from the sky. He was doing stuff like that. And later on, they started to add, which is fine, but they turned into other things. Uh, Shazam at one point was a serious guy. Shazam, when he turned into Shazam, he it was like Prince Adam turning into He-Man. Then they went with this whole 10-year-old boy. He's not going to be 10 years old forever, right? Yeah. So this 10-year-old boy that turns into Shazam. And they turned it into where, instead of Shazam being this kick-ass god, now all of a sudden it turned into him having the mind of a 10-year-old. So even though this 10-year-old has powers, this 10-year-old is still the brains behind Shazam. And that changed. I have this DC book in my closet. I could show you this book. And it even explains it. It's by DC. And the writers and the creators, the character, the artists, they were talking about how um, Shazam was purposely changed because Shazam superseded Superman. And Superman is who DC wanted to be like their main character. So yeah, and things of that nature, man. But DC fans don't bring these things up, of course. They don't want to. But this is what happens, and like, you guys need to just focus on DC movies, because Blue Beetle, like all these movies I watch, and I just enjoy the genre. But you know, yeah, you guys love to just talk shit, man. Always want to talk, but the only thing that DC really has is Batman. I watched Superman. he had Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all of them at a standstill. The Flash is running, and Superman single handedly just made them look stupid and embarrassed them in the show. I don't even need you guys. You guys are all my sidekicks. And DC fans that are down to earth didn't like that shit because it was like, God damn, man, they just made him. And since when if Flash became a kid, I know what that's about. Let's have a character that the kids can relate to. That will get the kids to watch. The Flash, he can run fast. He's, you know, Flash was always a grown adult. You look at the origin of it all. He was always a grown adult. At no point in the past was he a child when he was part of the Justice League with the Super Friends. And since when the fuck have Green Lantern? Why are they leaving Green Lantern now? So you understand what I mean? We can always look at shit and say, "What? Why are they not doing this or that? Why?" But yeah, it's always the DC fucking fans trying to give, create content to tell you what Marvel should be doing. Make your fucking content on DC. Like I said, I like the genres in general, the whole genre of comics and all or whatever. But yeah, focus on what DC is doing. And I say this shit because you motherfuckers love to just find some. I don't. There's something about people. I hate AEW, but I'm going to talk about AEW. I hate Marvel, but I'm going to talk about Marvel. I'm not going to talk about DC. I hate the NFC, but I'm going to talk about the NFC, how they suck and how the A. But I'm not going to talk about the AFC. This is what people do. This is what people love to do. Let me see, what else? Did I cover everything that I wanted to say about the movie? I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. But yeah, I mean, this movie is obviously setting up for what's going to come next. Look at the new Fantastic Four movie. It's called Fantastic Four First Steps. So you know when you reintroduce a character or characters, what they usually do is they go back to the beginning and show you how they got their powers and everything. Now, for us that seen different phases of these movies, again, you kind of want to skip that part, but you understand it because okay, there's a new audience watching. So I get all of that, and yeah, I mean, we need to pay attention to what's being done and why. Unfortunately, this is just an era of time where everything is just let's complain about everything we see. Let's complain about everything. Having a request or wanting to see something, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how people are sitting like the number one movie in the number one movie, the number one movie in the world. You say sucked. Then you got people saying I like the movie, but and it's like, look, the things you heard me talk about. This wasn't complaints. This was just things that I, like Captain America not taking the serum type of thing. I do understand why they were explaining the stuff from the Hulk movie. And to me, this makes me feel like, well, it's obvious they're going to do something and bring the Hulk back in a better way. Because this Hulk that I'm watching, this dude was savage, man. The first two Hulks, he was badass on there. Even Thor Ragnarok, Hulk was doing his thing. What I didn't like is like how it looks really stupid to me when you have the Hulk pouncing on someone. They're down. If you notice this, even for these people that make these independent animations like Hulk versus Superman or something, Hulk is as powerful as he is. He's on top of you, pouncing on you with all his fucking force. And all of a sudden, Superman looks up and his eyes glow up. Now all of a sudden, or same thing. Thor looks up and his eyes light up, and now all of a sudden, Hulk he gets hit, but he never hulks out. He just he doesn't get madder. He gets hurt. I'm like, okay, so they've watered the Hulk down, and I don't know how long this partnership, this thing is. I don't know what it is. I hope that that Marvel can get out of this shit with Disney, honestly, because I feel like as long as Disney's involved, we're going to keep getting this watered down Hulk. That's what I think. We're going to just keep getting this watered down version of Hulk. But I feel like because they made the references, it's obvious they had to do this with the exception for what they want to do coming next. And they brought Betty back. They wanted to explain, Ross, him going back to them bringing her back. You know that they never had a good relationship. So this could be more of a focus on them. So we might have Red Hulk and not Green Hulk in the next Avengers movie. I don't know this yet. This is what I'm saying. But it's obvious, if you've watched, we don't need a whole movie of them bonding, okay? But you do have to have some closure to something or some type of understanding. And this is why they're bringing up things from the old movies. They've done this before. It's not the first time. But she obviously will be in it. Now, again, and I'm going to close this video, I expect to see She-Hulk at some point in the Avengers movie, whether it's the very next one or not. I expect to see the Hulk return, Thor, Captain Marvel, Black Widow, and of course, Captain America, Sam Wilson. But otherwise, I don't know. I do feel like, because there's been talks about it for a long time, I do feel like at some point they probably might try to incorporate the Fantastic Four into the Marvel Avengers movie, and maybe the X-Men as well, or at least Wolverine, if not, because this is a lot of people you got to look at, man. So, we're talking about the entire X-Men, the entire Fantastic Four, and then you know what I mean? So it's a lot, man. They were able to get, the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then too, the way you put scenes together and how effective they are in these movies. This is why you have to do 2, 3, 4. This is why you can't do just, the one movie. So I'm expecting a series. So it won't just be an Avengers movie and then that's it. It will be, and you got to remember, man, 4 fucking Avengers movies. We're talking like 8 fucking years. Like, you know what I mean? This is not going to be an Avengers movie every year. We talk like 8-year span. So I'm not sitting here waiting to just get older and older, like waiting for, no, I want to enjoy what's put out. I want to enjoy, these movies aren't weekly. These movies aren't every once a month. These are it's years apart. So every movie leads up, and I want to be able to enjoy them. Now, I'm not going to pretend if I don't like a movie, I'll say I didn't really like that movie. But yeah, this will be a series, and for each character that they want to do 3, 4 movies on, I don't know who they'll be yet. A lot of people probably feel like Spider-Man is a given. Probably feel like the Fantastic Four is a given. I don't know anything about a new Spider-Man yet though. But yeah, man, I mean, we want to see something different. I don't know that it's necessary to make, 3 or 4 new Spider-Man movies. I don't know. Not that it can't. I would be more interested now, especially because now Peter Parker's a grown ass man, and we've had that college version, but we haven't had like a fully grown. I'm in charge. I'm not a little kid depending on, you know, uh, doubting myself or crying over my uncle and aunt, and then, I'm just saying like this is a grown man. So I would love to see like this grown up version of him, um, more independent and fully grown, full blown Spider Man character. So I'd be down for that. Yeah. I do expect multiple Captain Americas to Sam Wilson for sure. Multiple Avengers. I don't know about everybody else, and I'm also curious to know what's going on with this Thor versus Hercules. You remember the very last Thor movie? Man, he called, Hercules comes in at the end, and he looks huge. Like this is gonna be a cinematic Hercules. It won't be a regular man, so he's way bigger than Thor. But hey, we'll see how it goes, right? And that's another thing that a lot of people don't know. If you read the origin of Thor, his character is 6'6", 650 pounds. So I don't know how tall the guys that play Thor, but he definitely isn't physically, at least in physicality, he's not nearly as big as what Thor's supposed to be. But through the years, they phased that out, and then they had Thor as a big guy, but not a giant, not nearly as big as he was supposed to be. But anyway, so we'll see what changes they make. I'm looking forward to it. This is all I got for you now. I'll catch you guys on the next video.